Hello and welcome to our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha television. You are with me, Brent Mansa. But first, the headlines. Pope Francis says freedom is found in offering to God what is hardest to give up. Malawi and Zambia anticipate enhanced cross-border trading through the commissioned Mchinji Mwami one-stop border post. Parliament passes Fertilizer Bill of 2022 to support fertilizer production in the country. And in other news, Nigeria to limit cash withdrawals to $225 a week. Stay there for more on this and many other stories. During today's general audience, Pope Francis spoke about how freeing it can be to let go of the things that we are most attached to in life and place them in God's benevolent hands. He said that in the face of rejection, when things don't go our way, it is good rather to remember that only God knows what is truly good for us. The Pope explained that sometimes there can be a lesson from
audience. The Pope greeted Italian actor and comedian Roberto Benigni with a smile and a hug. Also present at the audience was Andriy Starovi, the mayor of Lviv, Ukraine, who came to the Vatican with a delegation from the Unbroken Center, which provides prostheses for war victims. The Pope delivered his weekly spiritual reflection while seated near a nativity scene recently set up inside the Vatican's Paul VI Hall in preparation for Christmas.
President Lazarus Chakwera and his Zambian counterpart Hakainde Hichilema have described the Mchinji Mwami one-stop border post as a game changer that will significantly change the way of doing business at the border by improving cross-border trade, free movement of people, and enhancing trade facilitation in general, thereby further accelerating Malawi and Zambia's trade integration of the regional and world markets. Making the remarks earlier today when they jointly commissioned the one-stop border post in a bid to facilitate trade not only between the two countries but across the region, the two leaders noted that the move positions the two countries advantageously for bilateral, regional and continental trade within the Nakala Corridor and Africa Continental Free Trade Area agenda. Tando Mzmara has more in this report.
The Mchinji Mwami OSPP, which is the first of its kind in Malawi, is expected to usher in a new chapter in the trade relations between Malawi and the region by boosting the volume of trade passing across the country. It will further increase efficiency in doing business, improve community cohesion and development, and the strengthening of relationships between Malawi and its neighbors. In his remarks, President Lazarus Chakwera, among other things, encouraged the private sector to use this opportunity to export more products than what the economy imports if we are to fully realize the much-touted Malawi 2063. Noting that they are faced by cross-border traders ranging from delays in facilitating clearance of goods and passengers, Chakwera emphasized that we need this kind of modern trade infrastructure to achieve our aspirations of a wealthy and predominantly exporting economy. On his part, President Hakainde Hichilema noted that issues of border delays will be an old story now following the construction of the Mchinji Mwami one-stop border post, where officers from both the Immigration Department and Zambia Revenue Authority are housed under one roof, a thing that has brought a sigh of relief to many people, including truck drivers. The Mchinji Mwami one-stop border post is an intergovernmental project implemented by partners from the Integrated Border Management, including the Malawi Revenue Authority (MRIA), Zambia Revenue Authority (ZRA), and the Government of Zambia and Government of Malawi border control agencies. Malawi has prioritized construction of one-stop border posts at 6 borders of Mchinji Mwami, Dedza Kolomwe, Mwanza Azobwe, Songwe Kisumulu, Muloza Milanje, and Shiponde Mandimba border posts. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Tandi Wemzumara.
The Educans Foundation Malawi is implementing a school-based blended education mentorship program which will respond to the problems that the education sector is facing in the country. Speaking at a stakeholders workshop which was held on Tuesday in Lilongwe, Country Director for Educans Foundation Malawi, Dr. Limbani Sabato, said the project will help to empower teachers with relevant skills for them to handle teaching and learning processes in the country. Hope Kambeta reports.
According to Sabato, the mentorship program will help to address learning crisis which is caused by lack of sufficient qualified teachers. He added that most teachers that have just been graduated from teachers training colleges lack knowledge to handle teaching and learning environment, hence the project to ensure that teachers are teaching professionally.
Had a partnership with UNICEF as well as Ministry of Education to do a mentorship program for teachers and learners, and this will take place in 9 pilot districts. The districts include those districts that are not doing well in terms of results at MSCE or JCE or primary school level.
Making his comment on how the country is progressing in as far as education is concerned, Chief Education Officer, Teachers Education Development Directorate, Alfred Kamoto, said there is need for more support to Malawi's quest to achieve meaningful inclusion education. He said, as ministry, they are expecting that through the initiative, a lot of teachers are going to be aware of what is expected for them in terms of promotion, career and skills improvement. He also said this can be achieved by having someone who will be responsible for guiding them on how to handle issues to do with classroom situations.
Yeah, as a ministry, we are expecting that lots of teachers are going to be made aware of what is expected of them in terms of promotion, in terms of career skills improvement in their teaching. And this is going to be achieved by having someone who is going to be guiding them on how to handle issues with to do with the classroom situation.
However, education specialist at UNICEF Malawi, Milando Mwale, said currently most teachers are struggling on their future of their career because most of them undermine themselves on uplifting their career status level due to the restrictions that they faced.
The mentorship program basically is to build the capacity of teachers, not just in pedagogy and content, but for lifelong learning, so that you do have a teacher that is learning from other teachers, to break the professional isolation that teachers tend to struggle with when it comes to their profession, but also to uplift the professionalism that would tend to address issues of motivation that teachers have. What is problematic right now is teachers cannot see where their future lies. Do I remain a primary school teacher in the same grade at the same position? The mentorship platform will open up the world to know what other opportunities lie within the education sector for a teacher.
The mentorship project will run for 10 months, which will be conducted in 9 pilot districts and will reach out to 9,000 teachers as well as 180,000 learners from primary and secondary schools. The project is being funded by UNICEF through the Royal Norwegian Family at a tune of $500 million. For Luntha Television News, this is Hope Kambeta.
Still in education, the Ministry of Education says it has put in place some measures to help students, especially in lower areas that might be affected by heavy rains and floods, have access to education. In an interview with Luntha Television, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Chigonara Musa, said the move is to give equal rights to all learners, as some areas are affected when heavy rains come. She said the measures, among others, include restoration of schools by providing tents and books for both teachers and students in order for them to be on the same pace with other students academically. We have a report by Priska Mashushu.
According to Musa, many students face a lot of challenges such as lack of shelter and proper learning materials to be used for academic activities, as most of them are destroyed by floods and heavy rains. She also said that the measures will help students have access to quality education follow and finish the syllabus of a curriculum easily, which will help in improving their performances. Musa Theda said that radio instruction programs have been put in place in order to allow students learn digitally without attending classes during heavy rains and floods.
We rush to the disaster-stricken areas to provide what we call school in a box, and this is just a box which has everything that a teacher, a head teacher would need to facilitate learning. That's what we do. We rush with a school in a box. We rush with tents where we have, and we also have converted our curriculum into digital format, and so we use the radio to air lessons, so that as people elsewhere are learning, our children who are not just in the lower Shire.
However, Ministry of Education has urged well-wishers to help in providing materials to the affected students in all areas of the country. Heavy rains and floods, including Tropical Anna, have affected a lot of areas in the country, making it a challenge for students to have access to education.
Remember that you are watching our 7:30 news bulletin coming to you from Bishop Navy Media Center in Area 2, Lilongwe. Before we proceed, let's have a look at our main stories. Pope Francis says freedom is found in offering to God what is hardest to give up. Malawi and Zambia anticipate enhanced cross-border trading through the commissioned Mchinji Mwami one-stop border post. Parliament passes Fertilizer Bill of 2022 to support fertilizer production in the country. And in other news, Nigeria to limit cash withdrawals to $225 a week.
Nanga bwanjizi kama ndichitikira izi mango yanganira utibande kanda esesa kuma mpamvu zanga zikuberewera
amoni ya Malawi nonse ndikose kumene muli. Ine ndine Grace Olebeda, phungu wa dera la Zomba Malosa, ndipo ndikufuna ndikukumbutseni kuti nthawi ino kuyambira pa 26 Novemba kukafika pa 10 December tikudusa mu nyengo yomwe dziko lonse limakumbukira masiku 16 apadera a nkhani za nkhaza. Nkhaza zimenezi zitokhala za kwa amayi kapena abambo, ndipo mu nyengo imeneyi tikuyesetsa kuti tikulimbikitseni kuti mukaona nkhaza ina iliyonse chonde tiyeni tafikeneni atsogoleri omwe tikukhala nawo, kaya ku polisi, kaya kwa afumu, kaya ma CBO, kaya ma youth network, atsogoleri ena aliwonse kuti tithandizidwe. Chifukwa nkhaza zimenezi ndi zimenenso zikumatipangitsa kuti mwina tizichotsa moyo wathu mosayembekezereka. Ndi chonde amalawi anzanga tisachotse moyo chifukwa cha nkhaza. Nthawi ino masiku amene wa 16 omwepo malina patula, tiyeni tiyang'ane kuti nkhaza za mtundu uliwonse sizikuchitika m'madera mwathu, kaya ni m'masukulu, kaya ni m'chipatala, kaya ndi pamudzi pamene nkhaza ina iliyonse tiyeni tiyipangeni ripoti. Zikomo kwambiri.
Nditetezeni, nditetezeni, omwezi kumandichitikira izi yang'anira.
Welcome back, and you are with me, Bernard Manza. Moving on, Parliament has today passed the Fertilizer Bill of 2022 aimed at supporting the production, blending, distribution and consumption of fertilizer in the country. According to the Minister of Agriculture, Sam Kawali, in order to effectively implement the core mandate of this bill, Fertilizer Regulatory Authority will be established, which will further be responsible in addressing issues of forfeit fertilizers on the market, realizing that the bill will affect Malawi's economy. Anafe Piri reports.
The Fertilizer Regulatory Authority will, among other things, regulate organic, inorganic and inoculant fertilizers with a strong interest of providing high-quality fertilizers to Malawians, hence protecting the country's soils. Speaking to the media in the August House following the passing of the Fertilizer Bill of 2022, Minister of Agriculture Sam Kawali said the bill will go a long way in boosting the country's economy through the use of proper fertilizers. According to the minister, through the Fertilizer Regulatory Authority, those who choose to act contrary to what the regulatory body says will be penalized heavily, as penalties range from 10 million Malawi kwacha to 20 million, with a specific objective of deterring would-be offenders.
First of all, we are looking at the establishment of the Fertilizer Authority, which will help us to regulate but also license the fertilizer operators. Let me explain it a little bit more. At the moment, we need to understand that the fertilizer industry has got different players. We have the producers, manufacturers, blenders, distributors, retailers, as well as consumers. Before the fertilizer gets to the consumer, most of them are the small border farmers. We need to make sure that the value chain is well regulated.
Concurring with Kawale, chairperson for Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture, Samir Suleiman, expressed the committee's gratitude towards this bill, but was quick to say that the regulatory body should ensure that in 2 years' time, Malawi should be able to own a fertilizer plant.
We expect this board within the next 2 years or so to give us our own fertilizer plant. We want a fertilizer factory here in Malawi.
The Fertilizer Regulatory Authority will also regulate cross-border fertilizer for a similar purpose of protecting crops and soils in the country. The Fertilizer Bill of 2022 was passed after passing through the committee stage with a single amendment of Clause 6, where it was wrongly typed as Clause 5. Reporting for Luntha News, this is Anafe Piri.
Social commentator George Chaima has called on government to help in civic educating people as the country continues to experience an increase in cases of abuse towards elderly persons due to some allegations such as witchcraft. In an interview with Luntha television, Chaima said government must sensitize the people, educate and help them with what is right or wrong as regards to the act of witchcraft. According to Chaima, abuse of elderly persons must not happen in a country where the rule of law works and where the human rights are enshrined within laws and international legal instruments. We have a report by Charity Chilanga.
Every person has a right to age with security and dignity and to continue to participate in society as a full citizen. Yet other persons' rights are often violated despite being guaranteed in the Constitution and other national laws, policies and programs. According to social commentator George Chaima, it is important that there must be civil rights to the elderly people. There must be civic education whereby government must aim at sensitizing the people about the dangers or abuse of human rights, and also abuse of law, starting from the villages and the communities where the elderly people live.
country where the rule of law works and also where the human rights are enshrined within our own laws and also international legal instruments, such things should not happen. And starting from the villages or in the communities where these old people live, I think it's important that there must be civil rights to the people. There must be a kind of civic education going on to sensitize the people about the dangers of the abuse of human rights and also breaking the law, like it happened there.
Jaima further said it is very unfortunate that people assault and abuse elderly persons, the very same people every individual is responsible to protect. Reporting for Luntha Television News in Lilongwe, this is Charity Chilanga.
Citizen Engagement Committee CEC says there is a need to enhance the use of access to information law if transparency and accountability is to reign in projects implementation. This was said during a dialogue that CEC organized in Luntha between members of district councils and district civil society organizations with the purpose of following up on citizen engagement in GESID projects. During the meeting, it was noted that communities are not fully considered in projects implementation except during launches and handovers. Rashida Matandika reports.
Presenting on how projects are supposed to be carried out from planning to handover, it was noted that citizen participation is sidelined as most of the projects are authorized by councils without much consultations. Member of CEC, Smekna Lakaluzi, who made the presentation, said the DDF guidelines have gaps as most projects are driven by authorities making hard decisions and keeping some secrets from citizens, with one notable example being the awarding of contracts to contractors. He said lack of information to communities is shielding citizens from following up projects, leading to substandard projects, and CEC has recommended that transparency and accountability should be expressed through the use of access to information.
Access to information is very key. We are talking about the capacity building of the citizens so that they're able to demand accountability from the leaders. And one of the tools to build the capacity of the citizens is to give them the adequate information for whatever they are doing. For example, the development projects. If the citizens are not given adequate information on the projects that are being implemented, then obviously they may not be able to pursue what the expectations are all about. In this case, we are talking about the Bill of Quantities. We are talking about how they are recruiting contractors. We're also talking about procurement. Citizens need to know all these issues so that they're able to see if the process is transparent or not.
Balaka CSO Governance Chairperson, Duncan civil society organizations from the districts of Balaka, Palombe, Machinga, Neno, Mwanza, Ncheu, and Nsanje. For Luntha TV in Blantyre, this is Rashida Matanjika reporting.
And now in sports news, chairperson of the African Union Sports Council Region 5 Youth Games, Stanley Mutoya, has said this year's competition is moving on smoothly as it has faced no major challenges. Mutoya was speaking during a media briefing at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe today. He said apart from the stormy rains that distracted some activities at Griffin Sainda Sports Complex yesterday, all other activities of the competition are going on well. King Major Kamwendo caught up with Mutoya.
Indeed, we are day 6 of the 10th edition of the Region 5 Youth Games, and tremendous progress has been registered. We have 1,340 athletes in our various games villages, all of them accommodated, all of them safe, all of them well fed. Yes, we had a slow start in terms of accommodation, where we had such teams like Malawi and Comoros not being able to join the rest of the people in the village. But we have since addressed that. Everyone is safe, comfortable, happy in their games villages, well taken care of, and all the supplies in place.
And finally, in other news, Nigeria's central bank has imposed restrictions on weekly cash withdrawals to limit the use of cash in an apparent bid to curb counterfeiting and discourage ransom payments to kidnappers. Under a new policy announced late on Tuesday, the Central Bank of Nigeria said that weekly cash withdrawals for individuals had been slashed to 100,000 Nigerian naira from 2.5 million naira. According to a statement, only denominations of 200 naira and less will be loaded into ATMs. For businesses, the weekly limit has been cut to 500,000 naira from the current daily limit of 3 million naira. Well, with that story from Nigeria, we have come to the end of our 7:30 news bulletin. But before we go, let's recap our main stories. Pope Francis says freedom is found in offering to God what is hardest to give up. Malawi and Zambia anticipate enhanced cross-border trading through the commissioned Mchinji Mwami one-stop border post. Parliament passes Fertilizer Bill of 2022 to support fertilizer production in the country. And in other news, Nigeria to limit cash withdrawals to $225 a week. That's all we had for you, and thanks for watching. And on behalf of the entire newsroom, this has been Bernard Manza. Goodbye for now.